Hi, my name is Sasha. Welcome back to my channel, Sash Reads. And today we're going to be talking about my 30 books that I want to read before I turn 30. So this list is inspired, well not this list, this video is inspired by Grace over at G Swizzle Books. Go check out her video. And because we are the same age, I just turned 28, I'm like, you know what? Let's make my own list. 30 books that I want to read in the next 2 years. Seeing as I have read over 130 books this year alone, 30 books should be fine. But we'll just see how we go. This list does compile books on my shelves, that have been on my shelves for ages that I want to read, books that my subscribers or friends have asked me to read. So let's just get into it. I'm going to talk about the books that I don't physically own first. And the first book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is sort of like a cozy fantasy. You've got this cafe where it's like you get there and you can time travel back to the past. There's like certain restrictions. You could say you have to be back in your seat before your coffee gets cold. You're not allowed to leave the cafe and things like that. So I'm very excited to read it. Whenever I see it at Big W, I just want to pick it up because there's this foiling on the Big W copy that I absolutely adore, and it just seems like a good time. The next book is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. I don't know about you, but every time I think of this author, I think of the Australian entertainment person, Kevin Bloody Wilson.
Dilligan. That's spelled D-I-L-L-I-G-A-N. Dilligan. And it means, do I look like I give a fuck? Dilligan.
Anyway, so this particular book, you've got this woman who had a bestie back in college. They're now grown, and the bestie now has these like twin stepkids, and she's asked her to come nanny them pretty much. But there's this funny thing about them. Whenever these kids get overly emotional, they burst into flames. And I know that Ali from All I Do Is Read really enjoys this book, and so does Shani over at Shani and Books. So I'm definitely keen to pick it up. This next book is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. This is a fantasy werewolf. I don't know if it's YA. I know it's about this guy called Ox. It's found family. It's very queer. It'll make you cry. It's one of Ren's favorite books, and I really want to read it so I know more about Ren pretty much. I love reading people's favorite books, so like I feel like I know a piece of them better. Does that make sense? This next book is City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. This book gives me Crescent City vibes because you've got this like, it's an urban fantasy set in this city that's got like all these supernatural creatures, and the main character's best friend has gone missing, or she's been kidnapped. So the main character gets the help of the biggest, baddest guy in this sort of like bikie gang. It's not a bikie gang, but supernatural hunter gang, and to try and capture her best friend. Well, not capture, to try and free her best friend from the guys who did capture her. And if that just doesn't give you like House of Earth and Blood vibes, like. This next book was lovely suggested to me by Meredith over at Reading with Merb, and it's called I Love Dick by Chris Kraus. This is sort of like a memoir slash novelization of Chris Kraus's life. All I know is she meets this guy called Richard, and she wants to leave her husband for him because she loves him. I don't know. Goodreads isn't really giving me much, but all I know is Meredith has asked me to read it, and she did say it was a joke, but I'm gonna do it because she should know by now that she shouldn't joke with me, because I will do the shit she says. The next book is Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton. This is a historical fiction set in Brisbane, which is exciting because that's only a couple hours away from me. This was a subscriber suggested book as well, so I'm excited to get to it. I don't know if it's queer. I've always thought it was queer, but I'm not quite sure. All I know is it's about this guy and his family, and he's having some problems with this drug dealer, I think. But I know it's like an Australian classic, so I'm excited to get to it. And then we've got Queenie by Candy Carty Williams. This is about this girl who's British Jamaican, I believe. Yeah, so she's 25 years old, living in London. She's Jamaican British, and she's just trying to live her life. I really enjoyed, there was another book. Do I own it? Yeah, Wahala. Wahala has like the same sort of vibe, straddling two cultures, living in London. And I believe Shani really enjoyed it, and Shani really enjoys Wahala as well. So I'm excited for this one. And then the last book on this list that I don't own is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This is a romance, I believe. I don't know if it's a romance, if it's a women's fiction. I think it probably like meshes both genres. I've heard it's amazing. A lot of people rave about this book, and I'm very excited to get to it. I just haven't yet. But yeah, I think it's about this doctor and somebody else. It's like reverse age gap, and they have a one-night stand, but then they keep seeing each other because she comes to the small town, I believe. Either way, I'm really excited to pick it up. All right, so let's get to the books that I actually own. I will start off with these ones down here. So the first book I own is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. This is a vampire romance. It's probably one of the original like paranormal romances that's kicked off the paranormal romance genre. The only purebred vampire left on the planet Wrath has a score to settle with the slayers who murdered his parents centuries ago. When one of his most trusted fighters is killed, orphaning a half-breed daughter unaware of her heritage or her fate, Wrath must usher the beautiful female into a world of the undead. I'm excited for this. I believe a lot of people love J.R. Ward, so I'm definitely keen to get into this. This is such a beat-up copy, but I just love these like small mass market paperbacks. Next book on this list is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This is a thriller about Sydney Green, who is Brooklyn born and raised. Basically what I believe is she buys this new apartment. Seems like all her neighbors are disappearing. So when does coincidence become conspiracy? Where do people go when gentrification pushes them out? Can Sydney and Theo trust each other or themselves long enough to find out before they too disappear? I really want to read this hopefully next month, to be honest, for spooky season. Definitely excited to pick this up, and I love how floppy this book is too. Oh my goodness. And then we've got Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is one of the classics. I feel like I am not a true Jan supporter or a vamp in her lair if I have yet to read Dracula. So this one is definitely one that I want to read in the next 2 years. I love this copy that I found. I love the bloody hands. I don't know why. Just, it's so minimalistic. Very excited to pick it up though. I don't think I've actually even watched the original movie either. So maybe that's something I could do too. Maybe I could do a video, like read the book and watch the movie. Possibly. Another vampire book, Crave by Tracy Wolff. G from G Swizzle Books absolutely adores this series. I believe this has a sort of Vampire Diaries aspect where you've got the main girl who is in a love triangle at this school. Yeah, she's the lone mortal in an elite school for witches, shapeshifters, and vampires. So it's become like a huge phenomenon, like pretty much overnight. So I'm very excited to pick this up and see why Grace loves it so much. This next book, Shani actually got me for my birthday, and that is Dolly Alderton's Ghost. This was from my birthday last year, and she actually read this for her birthday last year as well, and that's why I put it on my wish list. But this is sort of like a woman's like chick lit sort of book about this woman pretty much just living through her 30s. She's kind of put herself off like dating until she meets this one person. I do want to expand my reading in the next couple of years from smut to, I wouldn't say like proper books, but like I'd like to be able to talk about the books that I read to family members or work colleagues. And I can't really do that right now. This next book is by Beverly Jenkins, and that is Nighthawk. This is a historical fiction about Ian Vance. His beloved wife was murdered years ago, and he's now a hardened bounty hunter who knows he'll never feel love or tenderness again. He's charged with delivering a sharp-eyed beauty to the law he can't help but feel he may still have something left to lose. And then we've got Maggie Freeman, who was orphaned at 12 and she's always found her way out of trouble. But now there's a vigilante mob at her back who would like nothing more than to see her hang for a crime she didn't commit. The bounty hunter and the outlaw. So as the past closes in, the sassy prisoner and the toughened lawman may just find a passion between them that could bring blinding happiness if they'll let it. Now, I read one of Beverly Jenkins' other books and really enjoyed it, and that sort of had like a outlaw girl with a proper man of society, so I really enjoyed that. So I'm excited to read this one. Another thriller on this list, we've got For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Now, I really enjoyed My Lovely Wife by the same author, so I'm excited to pick this one up. This is also about a morally grey main character. I believe that they are a professor or this teacher at this school, and they kind of hate their students, so they start killing off the ones who are kind of privileged. Either way, I don't really like looking at synopses of thrillers, so I'm excited to pick this one up, and hopefully I love it as much as I did My Lovely Wife. Next, we have Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Dugan. This is a queer YA contemporary about this girl here who is Eloise or Lou. She's determined to have the absolute best, most impossibly epic summer of her life. There are just a few things standing in her way. She's landed a job as a giant dancing hot dog at Magic Castle Playland, which sounds kind of like a Disneyland maybe. Her crush, the dreamy diving pirate Nick, already has a girlfriend who is literally the princess of the park. And then you've got her best friend Celie, who's the carousel operator, has always been up for anything, but she's decidedly not on board when it comes to Lou's quest to set her up with the perfect girl or Lou's scheme to get close to Nick. And it turns out that this will be their last summer at Magic Castle Playland ever, unless she can find a way to stop it from closing. So this is Jennifer Dugan's sparkling debut coming-of-age queer romance that stars a princess, a pirate, a hot dog, and a carousel operator who find love and themselves in unexpected people and unforgettable places. So very interesting. I believe it's got bisexual rep. I'm not quite sure what else kind of rep it has. It gives me Ashley Poston vibes, so I'm excited to pick this one up. I own another hardcover of Jennifer Dugan, so I definitely really should pick them up and read them. And if I don't like them, I then can get them off my shelves to bring more books in. We've then got The Darkening by Sanya Mara. This is a YA fantasy, I believe. It was gifted to me because I won a Bookstagram raffle last year. What do I know? I don't really know much about it, sorry. But you've got Prince Dalka was born for one purpose, to protect his home from the storm, a deadly force that surrounds his city and curses everyone it touches. And then you've got Vesper Vale, who was the daughter of failed revolutionaries. Since the Queen sentenced her mother to death by the storm, she and her father have been on the run. So when the Queen's soldiers, led by Prince Dalka, catch up to Vesper's father, she will do whatever it takes to save him from sharing her mother's cruel fate. Ooh! So we've got soldier sorcerers, we've got a devious prince, and we've got secrets. I don't know. I'm very excited to read this, and I hope I enjoy it. Next is The Assassin Thief by Madeline Tawu. This is by a indie publishing company here in Australia, so I'm very excited to pick it up and support more indie publishing companies. Given me Throne of Glass vibes, to be honest. So we've got Tilium, who was once the most feared assassin in all Alcoria. Now she lives out her days in exile as she fights for dominance over her dark gifts. But that all changes when an errant Fae warrior enters her domain. Drawn by rumours of a powerful being said to be born from the shadow of the dark goddess Tenebris. Unforgettable world rife with grave secrets and suspenseful romance. So definitely excited to pick this up. Like I said, it's given me Throne of Glass vibes, and I just would love to read something that would give me those same sort of feelings. We've then got Angel's Blood by Nalini Singh. I met this author at Rare earlier this year, and she was so nice. Oh my gosh. So I'm excited to finally pick something up by her. This is another vampire romance. We've got a vampire hunter and, oh no, it's not a vampire romance because she's a vampire hunter, and then you've got an archangel. So this apparently also gives Crescent City vibes. very interesting. This next book was also gifted to me by Shani, and that's Tomorrow and Tomorrow Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zven. Apparently a lot of people love this book, and I'm very excited to become part of the hype. It's given you 80s nostalgia, and apparently you could like write theses about it and things like that. So I'm excited to see what all the hype is about. Shani also asked me to put this on my list. So she bought it for me and also asked me to read it. So thank you so much, Shani. Then we've got The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I have sort of soft DNF'd the mothers by this author. I don't know why I never picked it back up. Probably because the library wanted it back. But this is about Stella and Desiree, who are identical twins growing up together in a small southern black community until at age 16 they run away. But they're white passing, so one, when they leave town, grows up and pretends to be white, while the other one keeps with their culture and their heritage. And then I think something happens. So what will happen in the next generation when their own daughter's storylines intersect? So I hear so many good things about this book, so I'm very excited to pick it up. Then we've got The Crown of Oath and Curses by J. Bree. I won an art copy of this book, which I was so grateful for. I couldn't believe it when the parcel showed up. But this is by the same author that does the Bonds That Tie series. I absolutely love that series, so I'm excited to pick up another fantasy by this author. This has like fae and magic. Oh, and it's enemies to lovers, because it says here like, I am Rooksbane Evening Star, the favoured child returned, a witch of the woods, the greatest enemy of my fate's blessed mate. I love that. I love fated mates. I love enemies to lovers. I'm just so excited for this. Then we've got We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I can't believe I haven't read this yet. I've had this since 2019, I believe. Like, I should have picked this up by now. So, very, very excited to pick this up. It's given me like a desert fantasy. So we've got Zafira is a hunter, disguising herself as a man when she braves the cursed forest of the Ars to feed her people. And then you've got Nazir, who is the Prince of Death, assassinating those foolish enough to defy his autocratic father, the Sultan. If Zafira is exposed as a girl, all of her achievements will be rejected. If Nazir displays his compassion, his father will punish him in the most brutal of ways. Both Zafira and Nazir are legends in the kingdom of Arawiya, but neither wants to be. And like the subtitle is, People lived because she killed. People died because he lived. How good does that sound? Next is one that I've been waiting to put on this list, and I just don't know why I haven't read it yet. That is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is her foray into like adult fantasy. You've got Alex Stern, who is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Is it fantasy? I think it's fantasy. I thought it was like dark academia, but then someone said there was vampires in it. So I was like, okay, maybe I will enjoy it. Because I'm like, I haven't really read many dark academia except for Bunny by Mona Awad. And I enjoyed that, but I don't think I'm going to find anything like that again. So I'm excited to pick up this one. Another thriller on this list is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. I believe this is about Chloe Davis, whose father is a serial killer. He was convicted and jailed when she was 12, but the bodies of the girls were never found. Now Chloe has rebuilt her life, and she's a respected psychologist in Baton Rouge and has a loving fiance. But then it's the anniversary of her father's crimes, and Chloe is about to see her first weird fears come true. A girl she knows goes missing, and I believe the MO is like her father. So very interested to read more about this. Then we've got Den of Vipers by K.A. Knight. I'm sort of scared, sort of intrigued by this book. This is the Fabled Co-edition. The lovely Grace from G Swizzle Books gifted this to me. Oh, look at that. Because she was sent two. And she's like, Sasha, I know you like to read these sort of books. Do you want it? I'm like, yes, please. So I believe this is a dark romance. I'm not sure if it's reverse harem. I think it's sort of mafia. There's really no synopsis. Soz about it. All I know is like, this is just a beautiful book. and I hope that I enjoy the inside as much as I enjoy the outside. I also know Sarah from Sarah's Shelves loves this book, and when Fabled Co said that they were doing a copy of it, she spent the money to get it sent to her from Australia. This next book I've had on my shelves for the longest time. That is The Way of Shadows by Brent Weeks. So this is a fantasy about this assassin, I believe. All I know is I've got all 3 copies, like all 3 books in the trilogy. Never picked them up. I picked up Brent Weeks' The Lightbringer series when I first started my Bookstagram because someone was reading it. I think it was Regan from Peruse Pages was reading it and really enjoyed it. So I'm like, I will try it. And it was a bit too much adult fantasy for me. But now that I'm more of an adult, it's been like 10 years. Not really, it's been like 7. Maybe I'll enjoy it, but I'm going to pick up the assassin book first because I love assassins. It's one of my favorite tropes. So I'm excited to see what the hype is about. And I believe that he just brought out a book in the same world of this series. So maybe I'll get to it sooner rather than later. We've then got Loveless by Alice Oseman. I've only read Heartstopper by this author and I'm enjoying it. And I believe Loveless is, I don't think it's based in the same world, but it's got asexual rep and I need to read more diversely in my like asexual representation. So I'm excited to pick this one up. So we've got Georgia, who's never been in love, never kissed anyone, never even had a crush. But as a fanfic obsessed romantic, she's sure she'll find her person one day. So it says, this wise, warm and witty story of identity and self-acceptance sees Alice Oseman on towering form as Georgina and her friends discover that true love isn't limited to romance, which I think is just beautiful. Is that the last one? I think this is the last one. We've got Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I have a love-hate relationship with V.E. Schwab, so I'm hoping that this book will tip over to the love stage. I do not like her Darker Shade of Magic book. I gave that 2 stars. I wish I never read it, but I really enjoyed her middle grade book. So I'm excited to pick up their fantasy. We've got anti-heroes. We've got morally grey characters. It's sort of X-Men-y because we've got Victor and Eli who started out as college roommates and they kind of want to become superheroes, but I think one becomes a super villain. Does that give anyone else X-Men vibes? Either way, I want to read this before I turn 30. So these are some of the books that I want to read before I turn 30. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below, have you read any of these books? What do you think I should pick up first? What do you think I should get rid of and switch out? Because I will not be afraid to take some of these books out if you think I will not like it. But I'm hoping I will enjoy most or all of these books. I'm really excited to pick them all up and hopefully I'll start it sooner rather than later. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you did get to the end of this video, put a list emoji down in the comments below because we're trying to tick off the things on the list. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye.